Hey everyone, before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button to support my channel and stay updated with more content like this. The evening I finalized the purchase of my home, I vowed it was truly mine. But just weeks later, I stood paralyzed, eyes locked on my phone. There, in my living room, was my sister, Clarissa, sprawled comfortably, glass in hand, proclaiming herself the owner. In that instant, I understood that the deepest betrayals don't come from outsiders. They come from kin who think your sacrifices are theirs to claim. I'm Matilda Granger, and this is the story of how my quiet endurance ignited a battle. The memory of that pen in my grip lingers, scratching across the final document. My heart raced as the papers were tucked away and the keys settled into my hand. Cold, weighty, substantial. They didn't just clink. They carried the heft of a trophy won through years of unseen struggles. I lingered in my car, gazing through the windshield at the modest lake house. Its porch dipped slightly with time, the trim's paint chipped, and the maples out front cast dancing shadows across the lawn, as if welcoming me. It wasn't lavish, but it was mine. Every late shift, every missed holiday, every moment I bit my tongue at family gatherings, it all lived in the sharp edges of that key pressing into my palm. For a fleeting moment, I wanted to share the news, but I stopped myself. I knew better. In my family, triumphs quickly soured. Clarissa had a knack for turning joy into obligation, my hard-won victories into leverage for her and her children. I wasn't giving her this moment. I clutched the keys tighter, their ridges biting into my skin. This wasn't about proving anything to anyone anymore. It was about setting a boundary, unyielding and firm. For once, there'd be no arguments, no guilt trips, no demands. This was mine. That Boston dinner haunts me still. The table groaned under platters of roasted meat, the air heavy with the scent of garlic and smoke, silverware clattering louder than any conversation. My fork hovered near my lips, my pulse pounding as I finally spoke the words I'd saved for years and was ready to buy a home. Silence fell, then a quiet laugh. Clarissa leaned back, her eyes gleaming, her smile sharp and false. Even if you pull it off, you won't hold onto it, she said. Why do you need all that space? You're alone. My kids are crammed into one room. They need a house more than you. Her words struck like blows, each one laced with shame. Heads around the table nodded, as if she'd said something profound. Her children snickered behind their hands. I sat rigid, my napkin balled in my fist, my jaw so tight it ached. No one spoke up for me. I stayed just long enough to push food around my plate, then left before dessert. Outside, the wind sliced through me, but the chill in my chest cut deeper. That night, walking to my car, I swore that if I ever held those keys, if I ever signed those papers, they'd never hear about it first. Walter, my neighbor, carried himself with the steady calm of a Navy veteran, broad-shouldered, eyes sharp and observant. His warmth initially eased my nerves, but days later, his voice dropped as he spoke across the yard. Someone was on your porch yesterday, a woman. My skin prickled as he described her. Brown hair, stocky, middle-aged. My stomach sank. Clarissa. How could she know? I muttered, more to myself than to him. I hadn't shared the address. Walter's gaze held steady. She tried the door handle, he said. Thought you should know. His words sliced through me. In my mind, I saw Clarissa striding through my front door, declaring the house hers for the family. My hands tightened around my coffee mug, nearly cracking it. For the first time, my sanctuary felt like a battlefield. The lake's calm outside my window didn't comfort me. It signaled danger. My peace was already under siege. I recognized that SUV the moment I turned onto my street, parked brazenly at my curb, as if it bore Clarissa's name. My heart sank, and before I even stepped out of my car, I saw her silhouette in the doorway. She didn't knock or wait. The door groaned open, and there she stood, grinning broadly, sweeping in like an invited guest. Her son shuffled behind her, slouched, but at ease, while her friend followed, clutching a tote bag as if settling in. Gorgeous, Clarissa declared, spinning slowly, her eyes scanning my living room. This is the perfect home for our family. I blocked the doorway, shoulders squared, but she pushed past with the same entitlement she'd wielded since we were kids. In the kitchen, she yanked open cabinets, ran her fingers over countertops, nodding like she was appraising a show home. You can't just barge in, I said, steadying the shake in my voice. She flashed that sly grin. Oh, don't be so dramatic. One person doesn't need all this space. Sharing makes sense. Her words hung heavy, thick with presumption. I stood firm, refusing to give her the fight she wanted in front of her entourage. Eventually, she herded them out, tossing a glance that felt like a challenge. When silence returned, I noticed the kitchen drawer slightly ajar, where I kept my spare keys. My fingers tingled as I opened it. The keys were there, but the air felt wrong, touched. I spread them out under the light. On the front door key, I saw it. A faint scratch, shallow but deliberate, like something pressed too hard against it. My stomach churned. This wasn't normal wear. It was purposeful. I'd heard stories from hospital security. Thieves using soft plastic or wax to mold keys, crafting copies in minutes. The truth seared through me. Clarissa hadn't just intruded. She tried to claim my home at its core through its lock. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, scrolling through the doorbell camera footage. My throat tightened as Clarissa's face appeared, grainy under the porch light. She stood there, shoulders hunched, fumbling with something in her hand, testing the lock before glancing around and hurrying off. I froze the frame, her profile tilted toward the street. Fury surged, hot and piercing, but I swallowed it. Years of discipline had taught me. Anger is chaos, control is survival. I returned the keys to the drawer, memorizing every scratch, every ridge. This wasn't suspicion anymore, it was proof. Leaning against the wall in the dark, I whispered the mantra that had carried me through darker nights. This is my territory. Anything unguarded will be stolen. The conference ballroom hummed with voices, but my phone kept buzzing. Walter's name lit up the screen, his tone urgent. Cars are lined up in your driveway. Lights on, music blaring. Did you rent the place out? My stomach plummeted. I opened the security app, and the feed filled my screen. My living room, packed with strangers holding plastic cups, their shoes grinding into the rug I'd chosen so carefully. And there, at the center, was Clarissa, lounging in my armchair, a glass of red wine in her hand, her voice clear even through the phone's speaker. Welcome to our new home. My face went cold. Kids raced up and down my stairs, their shouts shaking the walls. Her friends spread food trays across my pristine counters, hand smearing surfaces I hadn't yet used. I bit my lip until it bled. Every extra shift, every saved dollar, every quiet dream I'd nurtured, it was all being trampled under the thumping bass of an uninvited party. Then came the gut punch. Clarissa's voice rang out. My sister left this house to the family. She doesn't need it. She's alone. The word stung worse than any slight. This wasn't just a trespass. It was a conquest. She wasn't pretending anymore. She was claiming. The hotel room closed in around me. My phone glowed on the nightstand, broadcasting the chaos at home. My hand shook so violently I nearly dropped it. Two voices clashed in my mind. One urged silence. Don't stir up family drama. Let it go. The other was sharp, forged by discipline. Secure the boundary. Eliminate the threat. Memories flooded back. Clarissa mocking my savings at dinner, signing loans in my name, treating my life as her resource. Every slight, every theft, echoed in the laughter spilling from my stolen home. I grabbed the phone and dialed. The line clicked. 911, what's your emergency? My throat was parched, but my words cut through. Intruders are in my home. I'm watching them on my cameras. They're family, but they don't have permission. The operator asked for details, but I barely registered her voice. My eyes were fixed on the feed. Clarissa stood, sliding into my dining chair, raising her glass with a smug grin, as if the deed was already hers. I whispered into the hotel room's silence, steady now, not this time. Never again. My phone buzzed fiercely, nearly slipping off the nightstand. I snatched it, my breath catching. The security feed glowed, red and blue lights pulsing across my porch, staining the siding in stark hues. The police had arrived. The front door swung open, and one of Clarissa's teens, who'd been stomping through my house, strutted toward the officers, grinning like they were crashing his party. In a flash, his arm was twisted back, handcuffs clicking shut under the patrol lights. His swagger vanished. Inside, pandemonium erupted. Clarissa leapt from my armchair, her face flushed red, jabbing her finger and shouting over the stunned crowd. "This is our family's home. My sister doesn't need it all to herself." Her voice, shrill and entitled, pierced through the speakers, carrying the weight of a lifetime of manipulation. I couldn't look away. My fingers gripped the phone, knuckles white, my heartbeat thundering like a drum. Yet my eyes stayed clear, steady. This wasn't just a break-in. It was the climax of a war I'd fought silently for years. And tonight, I was done suffering in silence. People scattered, some darting for the door, only to be stopped in the yard. Others stood frozen, hands raised in mock innocence. Children wailed, their cries clashing with the officer's sharp commands. The music stopped, but its echo pulsed in my chest. Clarissa stood her ground in my living room, voice shaking but defiant. "She doesn't deserve this place. She's alone. She's selfish. This house is for us." Her words dripped with venom, poisoning my home. Alone in the hotel room, the phone's glow the only light, my hands trembled, not with fear, but with a fury that hardened into resolve. One by one, the officers led them out. My house emptied of the laughter that didn't belong, the footsteps that had no right to tread my floors. The door's final slam echoed through the speaker like a judge's gavel. On the screen, my living room lay quiet. The armchair Clarissa had claimed lay tipped over, its shadow stretching across the floor. I exhaled, the words forming silently, "Not again." Not this time. The silence in the hotel room was heavy, but not oppressive. It wasn't the silence of defeat. It was the silence of victory, of a vow kept. The gray walls seemed to swallow warmth, the fluorescent light buzzing faintly above. The metal chair was cold, the table colder. Across from me sat Clarissa, her mascara streaked, eyes red, her mouth twisting between pleading and defiance. She reached for my hands. "Please, it was a misunderstanding. I did it for the kids." Her voice broke, but I heard the familiar manipulation beneath. I pulled back, steadying my breath. "No, you did it for yourself." The officer cleared his throat and placed an evidence bag before me. Inside was a copied key, plastic residue clinging to its edges. Then came printed screenshots, Clarissa on my porch, fumbling with the lock, and Walter's signed statement. Each item landed softly, but resounded like thunder. I met Clarissa's gaze. Her face paled, her lips parting soundlessly. Her friend, seated down the hall, had already confessed, admitting Clarissa bragged about the family house, claiming I was only lending it. Each revelation drove the truth deeper, like nails in a coffin. I'd suspected, but now I had proof. This wasn't a family dispute anymore. It was theft, trespass, a crime. The officer's eyes met mine. "Do you want to press charges?" My heart paused for a moment. For years, I'd swallowed my pride, borne burdens that weren't mine, told myself peace was worth more than boundaries. But seeing Clarissa now, I saw no remorse, only fear of exposure. My fingers closed around the pen, its weight heavy with purpose. The ink flowed smoothly, permanent, a boundary etched forever. Clarissa broke, tears streaming. "You're tearing this family apart," she sobbed. I looked at her, my voice calm but sharp as a blade. "No, you broke it. I'm just done carrying the pieces." The words hung in the air, final, louder than her cries. For the first time, I wasn't the one cornered. I was the one setting the line, and no blood, no guilt, no tears would erase it. Days later, the locksmith arrived, his tools clinking as he moved from door to door. I followed, steady as a sentinel. Old brass locks fell into a bucket, replaced by gleaming steel. When he finished, I turned the new key. The bolt snapped shut with a crisp, final click, a sound louder than any cheer. My boundary was redrawn, impenetrable. That evening, the air carried the scent of autumn leaves. Walter crossed the street, a warm loaf wrapped in a kitchen towel. He didn't offer empty words or pry. He set the bread in my hands and settled into the porch chair beside me. The lake glowed orange under the sunset. We sat in comfortable silence. After a moment, he nodded. You did what was right. I gave a small, certain smile and sipped my coffee, strong and slightly bitter, grounding me. The breeze carried a hint of cinnamon from the bread into the dusk. For the first time, I breathed without a weight on my chest. My phone buzzed on the railing, Clarissa's name flashing. I let it ring until it stopped. No guilt, no dread, just calm. I turned to the house, its siding glowing softly in the fading light, windows mirroring the sky. Porch solid beneath me. Every brick, every lock, every board was proof of my labor, my discipline, my sacrifices when no one noticed. This house wasn't just a building, it was a promise kept to myself. The silence around me deepened, no longer heavy or stifling. It wasn't the silence of swallowing pain at a family table or watching my life dismantled. This silence was mine, chosen, owned. I leaned back, the mug warm in my hands, my eyes on the lake catching the last light. The truth settled, clear and unshakable. This house is my line in the sand, one I've learned to guard. This silence isn't surrender, it's freedom. For the first time in years, I believed it. I was free.